With his dying words, a man tells a group of strangers where he has buried $350,000 in a park. Chaos and hilarity ensue. It's a mad, 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 mad world has always been a movie that I've been aware of, but its nearly 3 hours runtime and the fact that it came out about 20 years before I was born, and the fact that I've seen the modern remake titled Rat Race, which I found to be just okay, meant that I just hadn't made it a priority to watch this movie. James Rolfe, aka the Angry Video Game Nerd, has consistently said over the past 20 years of his YouTube fame that this is his all-time favorite movie, and I just recently learned that it was also my maternal grandfather's all-time favorite movie. Because I have such respect for those two men, I finally gave this movie a chance, and my god did it pass every one of my expectations. Over 60 years after its initial release, the absolute powerhouse of A-list comedians from the 1960s isn't nearly as impressive to most modern audiences, including myself, as I only recognized the names and did not know their impressive body of work. Here are just the names from the movie that I recognized. Now keep in mind, each one of these people was one of the biggest stars of their generation, and here they are all in the same movie. Spencer Tracy, Milton Berle, Sid Caesar, Buddy Hackett, Ethel Merman, Mickey Rooney, Jonathan Winters, Jerry Lewis, Jack Benny, Carl Reiner, Peter Falk, Buster Keaton, Don Knotts, The Three Stooges, and Jimmy Durante. First off, I never expected this to be the craziest car chase movie that I've ever seen. I'm talking Fast and the Furious levels of ridiculousness on the roads. The difference is, Fast and the Furious has decades of visual effects and safety measures. In It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, they really did all of this stuff. When you see a car almost run over a guy or fly off of a cliff, the car really almost hit a guy and really flew off of a cliff. This is a slapstick comedy, and there is a comical amount of cartoon violence and insane set pieces throughout. It isn't just the cars though. There are also scenes with airplanes doing things that would not be allowed today due to safety regulations. Even the dialogue holds up 6 decades later. The beginning of the movie finds our cast of hopeful treasure hunters discussing, very logically, the best way to split up the money once it is found. And the data nerd in me loves the number of different possibilities for the ways to equally and evenly split up this money. It's hard to pick a standout character, as each one is incredible, and just as much of the comedy comes from the zany antics in each scene as comes from the dialogue spoken. Now, Robin Williams credits Jonathan Winters as his biggest comedic influence, and so I focused a lot on Winters' character, the truck driver Lenny Pike. And even though I don't see much Robin Williams in the performance, there is no denying that Jonathan Winters was as star. Now, when people talk about this movie, you're constantly going to hear them mention Winters' character in the gas station, and let me tell you, that scene holds up and had me dying laughing. It is funnier because they only got one shot to pull it off. CGI would have taken away all of the stakes of that scene. But it's not just the gas station. There are so many set pieces that are there just to be destroyed, and each one is funnier than the last. Now, as someone who has spent an embarrassing amount of time watching movies and crazy videos on YouTube, I was more than a little shocked at how many of these scenes in this movie top the craziest things that I've seen elsewhere. And the whole movie was made for under $10 million, which I realize is closer to $100 million in today's money, but I don't think $100 million would even cover the cast today with as many A-list stars as would be needed to make this movie. The stars all work so well together. No one person is trying to steal the show more than anyone else. And somehow, even though the movie is nuttier than a box of Cracker Jacks, it somehow still kind of feels grounded. You know, if I had to pick a most unhinged performance, it would be Phil Stivers as Otto Meyer, who seems to have no moral compass, and he looked like Ned from the Groundhog Day, but had those crazy eyes like Squints in The Sandlot when he's talking about Wendy Peppercorn. I am mad, 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 mad that I didn't watch this movie until now. It is so full of joy and laughter that I can see becoming one that I revisit often, even though it's nearly 3 hours long. Over 60 years later, it still looks incredible, better than most modern movies. The stunts are dangerous and real. The cast is top-notch, and even if a lot of the scenes show characters driving in convertibles at high speeds without their hair even so much as blowing at all in the wind, the actual footage projected behind them while they're clearly in front of a blue or a green screen is surprisingly accurate to the scene that's happening outside of the cars. And it's going to make you forget about just how cheesy those close-up car shots are. This is without a doubt a movie that needs to be seen with a large group. It is as over the top as anything that has come out since, and it lives up to the title. It is a mad, 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 mad movie. Indoor explosions. Jimmy Durante in human form, learning to fly a plane, looking down. Slapstick fire escape humor, squeezing a grown man's cheeks.